I have a massive bias towards entrepreneurs as investors. So, every one of the VCs that invested in Mercury was an entrepreneur previously. Almost everyone that was a seed investor was an entrepreneur. I just think like they've gone through the journey, especially active entrepreneurs. They're like, if you're like, hey, how did you go hire your first salesperson? Like they have opinions about that. I have opinions about that. So whereas like if you go to a investor that's been an investor for like 20 years, they might have opinions about it, but they're not like from direct recent experience. It's hard to like really draw from that. So I think that's one bias I have. Number two, if they're active entrepreneurs or just like successful people, they're not going to bug you, generally speaking. Like you don't want to go to people who have the time to be annoying, right? You want to go to people who are so busy that like you are lucky to have like some time with them. And generally speaking, if they're investors, they will make themselves available if you ask them good questions. But I think that's my second bias, to go towards people who are busy and don't necessarily aren't going to waste your time. And I wouldn't say, there's definitely some investors that have been very, very useful. But if I make an ask of an investor, if I'm like, oh, I'm looking to hire a designer, like who knows a designer? Most investors don't. But like if you have 120 of them, which we do at this stage, let's say there's a 2% chance they do, that's still 3 people that will respond to that email. So it's not always, actually like quantity does help is kind of what I'm saying. It's like, I think as long as you do a good job of communicating with them, you don't know when someone can be helpful and will be helpful. And even to this day, if I send an email, I'll have some investor be helpful that hasn't been very active and helpful so far, but they do that one thing and it can be quite impactful to the company. I would say, lastly, you want to avoid like investors that kind of like trigger your asshole radar, if that's the right way to say it. Like if they've got too much ego, if they're just annoying to like talk to. There's definitely been investors where I've been like, oh man, this person, like maybe they have a good reputation, but like that interaction was like really off-putting and I have not pursued them. And I think actually, that's a reasonable thing to do. And like, you really are committed, what be like 5 years in and I still talk to many of these investors. So you're really committing to work with this person for a long time. So like, it shouldn't just be them judging you. You should be judging them as well.